Start.
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. For those who missed the pre-introduction, my name is Cindy Knowles. To put your mind at ease, I have a master's in herbal science, so I do kind of know a little bit of what I'm talking about, but that's not the point. The point is to learn, to educate yourselves, to empower yourselves. And so today we are going to speak about what the Spiceful Life is all about and how to understand what spices do and how to use them to the best of your ability, basically. So spices are crucial for life. Most people think, oh, it just gives a taste to food, but actually it is so much more than that. It gives flavor, it gives taste, but it also has amazing medicinal properties that actually is very helpful, that enhances not only the active ingredients in the food you're mixing it with, but it has its own active ingredients, it has its own medicinal benefits that actually help you when you ingest these types of foods or when you use it as medicine. So different things of how spices work for the body is that it's antioxidant, which means that it protects your cells from any type of thing that would cause cell damage, whether it's environmental pollution, stress, other medications, anything that will cause or impact your cells. That is what antioxidants fight against. Then you get anti-inflammatory, and I'm sure a lot of people know what that means. So any type of inflammation in the body, normally people mainly know about arthritis and gout as inflammation, but inflammation basically is any type of problem that causes an inflamed area or dis-ease in the situation. So it's anti-inflammatory and it helps manage that inflammation. It is also a digestive support. So it helps with your gut health and it helps with your microbiome and all those different things that is involved with gut health. It also helps your blood sugar levels, and that basically is sort of when your blood sugar levels start rising, that is, it starts with insulin resistance and then you get diabetes when it is out of control. So it helps manage that as well. And then immune boosters. So it boosts your overall immunity, your overall health and well-being. And it is also mood enhancers. So not only does it give you sort of a happy lift, but it can also help reduce depression. So spices have amazing properties. The culinary benefits are that they obviously add flavor and, as the culinary world says, umami. So, can you just say? So umami is basically that savory flavor that just like rounds it, that just tastes so nice on your tongue. So it gives that type of flavoring and it helps give a complexity and different sort of exotic, it's sort of sensorial. So not only do you taste it, but it sort of gives you experiences through the food as well. And then it helps you also to explore different techniques, how you can change up tastes, so you can play around with that as well. And then it historically and culturally has been used as a preservative throughout time. That was the main use for spices originally, and then it was also used as traditional medicine, and that's mainly what we are going to speak about today. And then also it helped with cultural identity. So as you know, lots of different cultures have different spices that speak to their culture. Like if you say Cape Malay, what comes to mind? Exactly, a curry, a strong type of, that type of taste. So there, when you say a certain culture, it gives you an immediate identity to that culture, that speaks to the culture itself, everything about the culture, but also the taste that is affiliated to that culture. When you speak about pizza, what do you think about? Italy, yes, because they have a certain way of how they use spices. So they use more the aromatic spices to bring out a certain flavoring. So that is how different spices have been attributed to different cultures and how different cultures have developed and evolved around these specific spices. So what is spice actually? When people hear about spice, they just think about something that either is strong, or like they say spicy, or it basically just adds flavor to the food. But it's so much more than that, and it actually is broken into two. So you get your herbs, but we're not going to go into the herbs today. We're going to focus on the spices. Your herbs are basically your leaves of your plants that is being used. So it's the aromatic leaves that is either used fresh, like this thyme, or it is dried out, like the spice versions here. So that's the herbs part. And then you get the actual spices, which is everything else on the plant. So that is, besides the leaves, it is the roots, it is the stems, the barks, the seeds, and the fruit that then gets dried out, and those are then used as spices. So that's the difference between herbs and spices. And collectively they are used under the term spices, but there is a distinctive difference. So I want to talk about the main spices that most people have globally in their kitchen that they use for almost every type of meal. Okay, so ginger, we all know ginger. Ginger has amazing properties. Ginger actually has an active ingredient called gingerol. And this gingerol is what is a very strong anti-inflammatory. So that's why ginger is mainly used for arthritis, for sprains, for muscle pains, for those types of inflammation, because it really helps with that type of inflammation. It draws the inflammation out of the joint or the muscle area. And then it reduces the inflammation in that way. It aids digestion, so it helps when food is going down. It also helps with the nausea that you have, with bloating, those types of things. So if ever you are nauseous, just eat a little bit of ginger. It can be pickled, dried, or raw. It will immediately take your nausea away, and it's also safe for pregnant women. It also helps with bloating and like stomach problems. It helps with menstrual cramps. It boosts your immunity, as you know. So whenever you are sick, they always give you ginger in the concoction, because that also helps fight the infection. It supports your heart health in a big way, and it enhances brain function. So it's got really great properties. Then we have garlic, and everybody knows garlic. So this is the ginger, this is the garlic, and this is actually the ginger plant. And as I mentioned before, it's busy going into hibernation, and so the leaves are busy dying off, and then the plant will go into hibernation during winter, and then in spring it will then shoot up again as a plant. So garlic contains allicin. The active ingredient is called allicin. And this active ingredient is antimicrobial. And so antimicrobial basically means that it fights any sort of pathogen or germ, or hoha, basically. So whether it's a virus, whether it's a bacteria, whether it's fungi, it fights everything. So it can be used for everything. It is also an antibiotic. And it's one of the strongest antibiotics. It is 6 times stronger than your normal over-the-counter antibiotic called amoxicillin. So it's really great. It is a bit strong on the tongue, but you can incorporate it in food. When you use it in food, it is a bit sort of dumbed down in its potency, but it then also enhances the efficacy of the ingredients in the food. But when you eat it on its own or in like a little tea mixture type of thing for the flu or whatever your ailment is, that is when it's most potent. So garlic also helps with heart health. It does boost your immune system as well, and it improves digestion, and it also detoxifies the body. So if you have anything that you feel is, whether it's heavy metals or whatever, you just want to detox, you can start off with some ginger and then cilantro, which is dhania, and so forth. Those things have detoxifying properties. Then we talk about turmeric. So this big one here, this big leaf, that's the turmeric plant. So you can also use the leaves of the turmeric and the ginger in your food. It has a slight ginger and turmeric taste. Has the same properties, but obviously it's not as strong as the root itself, because the root is where the actual active ingredient is found. So the active ingredient in turmeric is called curcumin, and this is a very strong anti-inflammatory. So that also helps with all types of inflammation, and it boosts your brain health, it aids in digestion, it supports heart health, and most importantly, it is an antioxidant which basically fights free radicals, which are the main causes or triggers for cancer. So again, whether it's environmental pollution, whether it's stress, or any little thing that is carcinogenic, turmeric also helps with that. But turmeric's active ingredient is only switched on or activated in the presence of pepperin. And pepperin you find in either cayenne pepper or black pepper. You just need to take a dash to activate or unlock curcumin. If you don't use black pepper or cayenne pepper with turmeric, it will just be boring, basically. So it will just be used for flavoring the food, but you won't get the medicinal value in it. So when you use black pepper or cayenne pepper, and the pepperin in there activates the curcumin in the turmeric, that then boosts the efficacy and potency of the curcumin 2000%. So it makes it so much more potent when you just add a dash of black pepper or cayenne pepper. So that is amazing. And so most people say, oh, but the turmeric's not working or whatever, but did you add some of the pepperin? No. And that's what most people don't understand, is that it needs to be used in conjunction with the peppers. And so the next thing is cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is an amazing herb and spice, basically. So it is called an adaptogen, which means that it adapts to what's needed to happen in the situation. And it mainly, cayenne pepper mainly is used for blood circulation issues. So it helps boost circulation a lot. If your blood is too thick or coagulated, it thins it. If your blood is too thin, it thickens it, so that it's at its optimal viscosity, which is fluidity, thickness type of thing. So I have a little story for those of you that have heard this before, just acknowledge. I was in the kitchen and I pulled the door open of the fridge and it ripped half of my toenail off. And so there was blood everywhere and a lot of pain, and I sprinkled cayenne pepper on it, and the blood stopped immediately, so it coagulated, and the pain stopped immediately. So I never, even though it looked terrible, I never had any pain ever again after that. But now with cayenne pepper, it's important the heat status. So you get different levels of strength or strongness or heat, they call it. So it starts at 50,000. Schofield is the measurement for that. 50,000 and it goes up. And cayenne pepper is made from the cayenne pepper chilies specifically. Then you get chili powders, which is made from all different types of chilies, not just except the cayenne pepper. So that is what chili powder is made of. And then you get paprika. And paprika is made from your bell peppers, your red, your yellow, and your orange. So that is more flavor. So those are the differences between the peppers or the chili powders, so to say. And then another story is I had shingles by my eyes, and the pain, started, and I saw these little blisters, and I was like, oh, what can be used for that? So shingles is very painful because it attacks the nerve. So that's why there's a lot of pain with shingles, and why it keeps on coming back, because it's activated by any type of trauma. And so I had this shingle starting, and then I mixed a little cayenne pepper with coconut oil, and I put it on, and the pain stopped immediately. So the shingles progressed, but it only lasted for 5 days. So at night I would put the cayenne pepper on because it would go into my eyes. So at night I would put it on before I sleep, and I had no pain after applying that the first day through the whole shingle. So it was just an ugly looking blister situation, but there was no pain and no damage done to my eyes or the skin or anything like that, and nobody can see I had shingles because it healed beautifully. So cayenne pepper takes, or at least it helps with pain relief as well. So it's really amazing. It is a strong immune booster. Also, it boosts your metabolism for those who have sluggish metabolisms, and it supports your digestive system, and it also helps with heart health in that it strengthens your capillaries, your heart muscles, and also the circulation process. So it's really healthy to have some cayenne pepper every day. The last one of the ladies that was in the audience was telling a story about her father who was on heart medication, all the different types for the cholesterol and the heart issues and all of that stuff. And then he decided he just wants to stop. And he stopped, and he just took cayenne pepper. And then when he went to the doctor for his checkup, a regular checkup, the doctor was like, wow, you are getting healthier, your vitals have improved, what did you do? And then, so he said, so keep on doing what you're doing, because clearly the medication is working. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, he had taken himself off the medication, and it was just the cayenne pepper. So these stories really work, and I know there's a lady in the audience also that has a wonderful story. Maybe you just want to share that with us, or do you want me to share it? Okay, so I've given one of these workshops as well, and I also spoke about cayenne pepper and its properties, and then a few weeks after that, she came to me and she's like, you know what, my mother was busy having a stroke or a heart attack, and she remembered what I had said about the cayenne pepper, and she put a little under the tongue, and 5 minutes her mother was fine. So it's real, thank you for that amazing story. Wow. Wow. A walking real life example. Thank you so much. So yeah, these things really do work, as you can see. It just also depends on the strength of the cayenne pepper that you have. If it's not too strong, it might not have the same effect, but obviously the stronger it is, the more effective it will be for whatever injury. Because then on another day I had a cut, and there was cayenne pepper, but it wasn't the normal cayenne pepper that we had before, and it wasn't strong to the taste, and I put that on and the bleeding didn't stop. So that showed me that the strength of the cayenne pepper is also very important. So when you are buying cayenne pepper, just check what the strengths are. It starts at 50,000 Schofield and up. So the stronger, the higher the number, the better. Um, and then the next thing is cinnamon. Cinnamon is very good for diabetes. So it helps with regulate your blood sugar levels. It helps with insulin resistance. It is also anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. So it fights free radicals and can also be used, to it's known to sort of help prevent cancer or things that will activate cancer. Um, it also helps with neurodegenerative diseases. So that is like Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So if you take a lot of cinnamon and you have Alzheimer's in the family, that could then help, make it bypass you and so forth. And it's also a strong antiviral and antibacterial. So again, if you are sick and you don't have garlic and you don't have turmeric, for example, and ginger, cinnamon can also work just as well. So those are the main spices that you get in your kitchen that you use for almost every type of dish. There is like this pack, for example, it's called the 5 spices, and it has cayenne pepper, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, and garlic. And it obviously helps with all the things that we spoke about. For example, high blood pressure, circulation problems, immune system, blood sugar levels, arthritis, and boosting your metabolism. So it basically just encapsulates everything that we covered now. And now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of things. So how do you actually make spices yourself? The technique is that you first have to dry it. So there's different ways that you can dry it. If you're going to pick it, you can then hang it in the air in a well-ventilated space, but it must be dark. Sunlight doesn't matter, but it will take long to cure. That it's called curing when you're drying it out. So it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for that process to take place, or you can put it outside in the sun with like a mesh covering or something. You get outside dehydrators. That basically is a box with different slots in it, and it's like mesh slots, and then you just lay out whatever you want to dry in these slots, and maybe have plastic covering or glass coverings, and it's outside. That then will protect it from the insects, but it will then dry it out, and like I said, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to cure. Then you get oven drying. This will take the minimum is 4 hours, and this will start at 50 degrees. So depending on how much moisture is in what it is you are drying out, some things have a lot of moisture, some don't. So it will determine how long you need to keep it in the oven. Then you can also use a dehydrator, which is specifically for that type of things. It's very expensive. You can also use, what do they call these? Air fryers. That can also dehydrate things. And then you can use a warmer if you have a warmer still. Some new ovens do have warmers, but the old ovens used to have warmers, and that normally goes up to 40 degrees. So at 40 degrees, it would obviously take longer, so you leave it in there for a few weeks, just like outside, and it will then dry as well. And then you can use the microwave. The only problem with the microwave is you have to watch it, because in a split second it can burn. So that's kind of what happened to some of the stuff that I wanted to use for today. It got slightly burnt, so like this. This is supposed to be, this is the paprika that I made from bell peppers. And it should be brighter, but it's a bit dark because I burnt it in the microwave a little. So that was that, because I didn't have time for weeks to dry the stuff out. So once you've dried it, the next process is your grinding and blending. So depending on what you have, if you have a blender, you put it in there. That's normally for the very big pieces. You would then blend it in there, and then you would grind it further if you want a very fine powder in a coffee grinder, or you use a mortar and pestle, which is this. This works very nicely. It's also a very ancient way of grinding. And then once you now have your powder form, you now put it in a tight, airtight container and you store it in the dark. So it must not seize a lot of light because the light can cause moisture from the heat. And it must stay in a cool, dark place, and it will last for years and years and years. Air also mustn't get in there because you don't want germs and stuff getting in there as well. So keep it in a nice airtight container, preferably in something dark. Glass is the best, but use what you have. And then that's how you store it. So that basically is how you make your own spices. Depending on what it is that you want to make, those are the ways to actually do it. And the normal spice blends that most people use is curry powder, which basically is turmeric, cumin, coriander, ginger, and chili. That's the combination that makes up curry powder. So you can make your own curry powder if you want to, by buying those or making those, drying out those individual spices. And then Italian seasoning. So again, those are the unique identity, cultural spices that we spoke about. So curry is predominantly Malay, Italian is Italian, but you use it for different things and different types of tastes. So Italian seasoning is basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary, and garlic. And then chili powder, as I mentioned before, is your paprika, which is from your bell peppers, your cayenne pepper, which is from the cayenne pepper actually, and oh, I forgot to say, the active ingredient in here is called capsicum. So it's made from the capsicum plant. And then you add the paprika, cayenne pepper, garlic, onion, and cumin, and that will make your own chili powder. You can also add your oil to that, your olive oil if you want the chili oil. So depending on how you actually want to use it, that's what will determine what else you add to it as well. So now, today, I just want to show you how to make a spice, a salt, and an immune booster. So everybody can make their own spice cubes, bouillon spice cubes. So you know these stock cubes that you normally buy in the shop that you use for almost all your foods that you make, especially your stews and so forth, you can make your own. So the health benefits of bouillon spice is it's very rich in electrolytes and minerals. So that helps regulate the fluid in your body, regulates your cell metabolism.
Chicken stock.
Yes.
Chicken stock.
Yes. So you can make your own, but yes. So what type of stock it is will determine what you obviously put in. So if you're gonna have beef stock, you would put beef. However you want to dry your beef or make a broth from your beef, whatever, you will add that to the base. But the base is always your veggie stock. So your veggie stock, which is your bouillon spice, will be the base, and you can then add whatever you wanted to make it into beef or spice or chicken or whatever. But all you need to do to make the base, okay, I'll get to that now. So the good health benefits are also that it supports your immune system, it boosts your immune system through the types of ingredients that are in there. It boosts hydration, so it's very good, especially for soups, and the base is basically what you make soups with. So you would use it like you would soup. If you are sick, you need a lot of fluids. Your fluids is very concentrated in there, that's why it boosts the hydration, so to say. And then it enhances your nutrient absorption. So the foods that we eat, sometimes either we have gastric issues, gut biome issues, or just certain foods don't release the nutrients well. This then also helps your body to absorb those nutrients that are needed in your body from the foods that you're eating. And then it's low in calories. So it really is a good additive to your foods because of the different health benefits that it has. And then how you make it is you basically can use your scraps of your, like the food that you are making, potato peels, garlic peels, onion peels, the stalk of your celery and broccoli, those thick stalks, you grate it up, you can use that all. So almost all the stuff that you don't use in cooking from your, yes, the waste from your veggies, don't throw it away, put it in a packet, keep it in the fridge, and then when you are ready, you can make your own veggie stock, or stock base basically. So you then start off with braising your onions, and you can add whatever spices you want to it, or just salt, depending on what you want out of it. And then you start adding those scraps to soften it, because it's normally harder. And then once that is a bit soft, then you add your chicken, your carrots, your celery, leeks, whatever vegetable scraps that you have, or leftover vegetables, or whatever you want to put in there, you can put in there. And then you sort of cook it. And so how you make the stock, not the stock, the broth, is that you cook it until it's like a boiling type of mixture. And then you pour it out and you strain it, and then you keep and then the liquid that is strained out, that then becomes your broth. You can then keep that in your freezer or fridge or whatever. And the actual leftover pulp, that you can then spread on a tray or something, put it in your oven, you dehydrate it, your air fryer, whatever, dry it out. Once it's dry, you then grind it, and there you have your stock spice. And then to make the bouillon cubes, the whole mixture, you mix until it's a pulp. And then you blend it down further until it's really like mush. And then that mush, you either put it in a container like this, or like this, and then you store it in your fridge, or you can just dry it out, depending on how you want to use it. If you want to dry it out, it will obviously take longer, but once it's dry, it has this form, for example, and then these, you just wrap it up in cellophane, or what is that wrap with a cling wrap, and all those things, or foil, depends on you. You just wrap it up and you keep it in a dark place, and it will last years because the moisture is out of it, so it's dehydrated. That's the one form. And then the other form is, obviously, you can make your cubes, your ice cubes. So when you are cooking, you just pop one out and put it into your pot, and there's your spices. So those are the different ways that you can make your own bouillon spice cubes from. The next thing is a citrus booster. So again, you would take all types of citrus vegetables, fruit. So it would be your lemons, your oranges, your lychees, your grapefruit, anything citrus, you will use the skins. Now the reason why you use the skin is because the skin, as you can see, is porous. But so it is very concentrated version of the fruit itself. So the vitamin C level in the skins is so much higher than the fruit itself, because it's in a concentrated state. So when you dry it out like this, you then, I will just do a little example. So this is even pomegranates as well. Pomegranates is good for heart health. So you can use pomegranates and orange peels and all the citrus stuff. So you just put it in there. So normally you would put it in a grinder if it's big like this, just to break it down into smaller, because otherwise it's gonna, pop out like this. Once it's now more manageable, you would then grind it. And depending on how you want it to look, if you want it very fine, you would grind it until it's very fine. And then it would make a powder like that. And then this powder would look like this, and you store it in a container. It can be anything that you have, but it must be airtight. And so you can use it in smoothies. You just take a little teaspoon of it. You can just add water. You can use it in any way that you want to. And that, you can even use it as, the zest that you put on some puddings and so forth. Use it in that way as well. So you can use it in various forms. And that will then give an amazing vitamin C boost. So it's really good to use in winter, especially, when the colds are coming and you want to keep your immunity, strong. Just make some vitamin C shots for yourself, or sprinkle it over your breakfast, or whatever format it is.
Plain yogurt. Put it in
Even
plain
in yogurt, yes, exactly, because it's in this form. You just sprinkle it wherever you want to, or drink it. There you have a very, very concentrated vitamin C boost. So you can call it your own immune boosters. You can make little ice cubes from it as well if you want to. But I think in this form it's better to just sprinkle it or put it in whatever you want to. So that is how you can make your own immune booster. And the benefits of an immune booster is that it's very strong in vitamin C, as I mentioned, because it's so concentrated in the skin format. It's a prebiotic. So people that have issues with their gut health, like maybe you're not digesting well, or you have IBS, or whatever gut issues you have, this is a prebiotic, so it basically extracts the nutrients from the food that might affect or add to the gut issue. It also helps to alleviate those gut issues. So it works before it actually gets to the gut. So that's a very good thing about the vitamin C boosts. It is anti-inflammatory. And vitamin C is actually also, apart from ingesting it and boosting your immune system and so forth, it's also very good for the skin and the hair. So you can add it to shampoos, conditioners. It hydrates and nourishes your hair and your skin. It actually is collagen. So it will pump and boost the collagen in your skin. So you can put it in your creams as well, or make your own little paste of whatever type you want to. Apply it to your skin. It also helps with melasma, which is like dark marks and so forth. And basically, it also protects you from UV damage. So if you're out in the sun, so certain UV rays can sort of, coupled with your health status, activate skin cancer. So it can also protect you from those harmful UV rays as well. So and it could also help with diabetes and cardiovascular issues. So an immune booster is really great to have. So don't throw away your skins. Use them. Dry them out. Use them. It will be amazing. The next thing you can also do, tomato sauce is expensive. We need tomatoes in all types of foods. Tomatoes go off quickly. A nice thing that you can do is you can dry out your tomatoes through the process we spoke about earlier, and then you can grind it into a powder. I have tomato powder here somewhere. There we go. It's a bit dark because some of it darkened in the microwave. So this, basically, you just add a little water to it, and then it becomes paste. Like, you know those sachet paste or the thingy that you buy, the paste? Make your own tomato paste. From there, you can use it whichever way you use tomato paste. You can make your own tomato sauce from the paste. You can use the paste in your food, on pizzas, whatever. Anytime you can stock up on tomatoes in this format by just drying it out and storing it in an airtight container, and there you go. You have your own tomato paste ready for whenever you need to use it. Now, the amazing thing about tomatoes is that it contains lycopene. And lycopene is, it's in the tomatoes, so it helps with also protection against certain UV rays. But the main thing about lycopene is that it is anti-cancerous, so it helps fight cancer. It helps boost your immune system. It's also rich in vitamin C, so it does everything that the vitamin C does for your body. And it also supports skin health. So if you look at a lot of face creams and so forth, you get ranges with vitamin C and you get ranges with tomato in. Because tomato, the lycopene also acts as collagen boosting, so it helps with that. And it protects the skin, as I mentioned, and it just gives the skin a nice glow. So lycopene, so your tomato paste that you make, or the powder itself, you can add it to creams as well for your skin if you want to use it in that way as well.
Is heating it in nature or not will take away from the
No, so heating it actually increases the potency or activates the potency in the lycopene. Mustn't be too hot though, but when you are, you know, because after any vegetable or herb or whatever you are cooking with, if you cook it at too high temperatures or for too long, that denatures the efficacy of the actual active ingredients in there. So also try not to overcook things, not to use too much high heat, because then your food is just, you eating nothing. You're just filling your tummy. You're not feeding your body with the nutrients that it needs. So those are important key points, but lycopene is one of the things that actually is activated or excels when it is heated up. So that's also a nice thing to know. And then today I want to show you how to make exotic wild salt. So most of these things are from my garden, and I dried it out. I had some, so in this exotic salt is garlic, mushrooms, sage, amaranth, nasturtiums, carrot leaves, and sea rugs or oxalis or wood sorrel. That's what they call it, and then some sea salt. So for things like this, you don't need to, although when you are working with things in the kitchen, you always need to have a sterile environment because of the ingredients and what it does for the body. It's okay to then still mix it in the same bowl, for example, because it's not going to take away from the efficacy, it might just boost it in the
Will they
combination.
differ when you use the wooden one?
No. It's just depending on the density of the wood, because some wood is really light. that will determine like the strength that is put into the grinding. So if it's a very lightweight wood, then it would take longer maybe to grind it or more pressure. But the more dense, the better it is to put force into the grinding action, basically. So I dehydrated some mushrooms. I just want to So mushrooms has vitamin B complex in it. So all the vitamin Bs, vitamin B12, B3, all of those things is found in mushrooms. Mushrooms also boost your immunity and your gut health. And so it helps with digestive issues as well. And then it enhances flavor. It's also, depending on the type of mushroom, also has great mental enhancement. I'm looking for the container that I was going to use. Okay, these are the bouillon that was just for show. So I'm just going to mix everything in here for now. That's the mushroom. Then I want to take some ginger, some garlic. This is also dried garlic. So with dried garlic, you can also use the leaves because it also has a lot of active ingredients in there. And garlic, you have to first mash it up or squeeze it to make it sort of like a pasty type of thing before you dry it. So you will see in some salts, you see garlic flakes or onion flakes. It is from the skins as that they also dried and used because the skins have a lot of great property for onions as well. So you see how very fine that is. And so we know what garlic properties are. Great antibiotic. The next is some rosemary, also dried from the garden. And so rosemary also has immune boosting properties. It's very healthy for you as well. It helps with the respiratory problems a lot, rosemary. This is the syrinx that's dried out, also known as oxalis or wood sorrel. Syrinx used to be used on ships for scurvy. So you can also, and scurvy is a form of shingles. So you can also use it for that, for shingles and so forth. It's very rich in vitamin C, so also will boost your collagen, help with wound healing and so forth. Then I'm going to add some sage. This is also from my garden. Now sage protects the cells from cell damage. So it is a very, very strong antioxidant. Also, when you pick the leaf, you can also use it to brush your teeth because it has antimicrobial properties, so it will kill all the bacteria in your mouth. If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have toothpaste or something, sage leaves can also be used for that. Sage leaves also help stimulate your cognitive ability, and it is an anti-inflammatory. this is the carrot leaves. I'm just gonna add everything. More serums, dried out.
Do you just use the leaves
Yes.
of the serum?
So I just picked the leaves from my garden and I dry it out. Leaves dry out quicker because it's thin. And then this is carrot leaves. Now carrot leaves have vitamin A and vitamin C. So once again, we know what vitamin C does, but vitamin A is very good for the eyes. So this is good for eye health and skin health. It also has calcium and iron in it, and it is a immune booster, so it gives overall general health. So the leaves of carrots, use it. I also put it in the spice bouillon. That can also be used. So you don't need to waste anything. You can repurpose, reuse almost anything in terms of food. And then this is nasturtiums. Now nasturtiums is also an antibiotic. Nasturtiums is an amazing, and those that were here the last time, we spoke a lot about nasturtiums and its properties. So now you can also use it to make an exotic spice or salt. Nasturtiums, you can use it for wound healing, as an antibiotic, for skin health, because it's got vitamin C and it's got vitamin A, so it's good for eye health as well. Then amaranth. So amaranth is known as an ancient grain. They grow everywhere. It's called a weed, but actually it has these little, so here are the leaves, and then on top, on the apex, it's like these little bolletjes. Now those bolletjes, you can actually, those are the ancient grains. So you dry it out, you can make amaranth grain flour from it. You use it as natural flour, it's got amazing benefits. You can pop it as popcorn, you can use it to thicken soups and so forth. So that herb is really amazing. The leaves are used as spinach. It's extremely rich in a lot of vitamins and minerals. It's actually got more minerals than spinach does. So amaranth is really great. I'm not using a lot because I just want to demonstrate how you can use what is around you or what is in your kitchen to make exotic types of healthy immune boosting salts. And then sea salt. Sea salt is almost as good as Himalayan salt. I just want to crush a little, to make it blend better. But for those of you who know what Himalayan salt does, Himalayan salt or Celtic salt basically has between 74 to 100 of the 100 minerals and nutrients that our body needs to actually function properly. So how our body works is at a cellular level, we need nutrients and minerals for the cells to work, and water. So that's why you need prebiotics, probiotics, so that you can absorb as much nutrients as possible from the foods. But now if you take or ingest salt in your water, what it does is, this is your cell, and everything starts at the cellular level. So this is your cell, and because of our lifestyles, our bodies are in a state of dehydration due to stress, due to environmental factors, due to the fact that our cells can't retain water because of the actual stress situation we're in. So now you find people that drink a lot of water, that pee a lot, which means the water is just going out. It's not actually being used in the body. So it's not getting into the cell because the cell is trying to protect itself. So it has this layer around it, like a little bubble layer. And when the nutrients from the food and the water come and they want to go into the cell, because the cell is trying to protect what is inside so that it can function properly, because it's not getting a lot of it, because our food is nutrient deficient. There's not a lot of nutrients in our food, and we don't drink a lot of water the way we should, so we're not getting the proper ingredients for the cell to work properly. So now the nutrients and the water comes and they struggle to get in the cell because it's protecting what is in there. So it forces it and it pushes it in. Over time, that pressure of pushing it in actually causes high blood pressure. But once it is inside, then the cell can work properly. Now, because our bodies are in a state of dehydration, that's what causes all types of ailments, all types of problems, because if your cell's not working properly, your organs won't work properly, your functions won't work properly in your body. So basically, when you take salt with your water, that salt has the minerals and nutrients that the body needs. The magnesium in the salt unlocks that layer that is around your cell. So now it's open, now the water and the nutrients that's in the salt. So because of that, your body needs 104 minerals and nutrients. Depending on the type of salt, not table salt only has 2, and those 2 are toxic. So that is what causes high blood pressure, table salt. But if you're using sea salt, Himalayan salt and Celtic salt, those have, depending on which ones you use, those have the majority of the nutrients and minerals that your body needs. So now, those nutrients that's with the water, because you're drinking the water and the salt together. So now, it's getting into the cell. Now the cell is getting all the food that it needs to work properly and the water. Now your cell can start working properly. Then your organs can start working properly. Then your joints is getting more fluid in the synovial fluid. So now you're not having so much aches and pains anymore. And now because your cellular processes are working properly, your body's working and functioning better because it's getting the proper nutrients and water that it needs. So that's why salt is very important in your diet with water. You will also see when you drink Himalayan salt, for example, I tell people Celtic salt is the best, but it's very expensive. Himalayan salt is the next best thing, less expensive, but it has a little less nutrients, but majority of the nutrients that your body needs. So you drink it with your 1 crystal, for example, in a glass of water, and you drink 7 to 8 glasses of water depending on your body. Now you're getting everything that it needs, all the nutrients that it needs in the body, and now you are automatically healthier. So when you are combining these types of things with your salts and you're adding it to your food, using it as is, whichever way you want to use these exotic salts, you're getting all those minerals and nutrients and added nutrients from the various ingredients that you added. So it really is amazing, and you can make a business from it. So you could sell exotic salts, from your garden, and speak about the health benefits of it and so forth. So these workshops are not only there to help people become healthier, more conscious of the environment, more conscious of what they put into their bodies, but also helping you to be sustainable, and then you can also take more control of your health so that you can be of better service to the Lord, but also it can then become an income generator for you. If you need an extra income, if you need an actual income, these are small little things that you can use without money to start something. So like we said in the beginning, When Moses was at the Red Sea, God said, use what is in your hand, use the staff, and with God, they opened the Red Sea. So use what you have in your hands to be of service to God and look after your health. And you can really make big differences for yourself, for your family, and your community. If you maybe starting a business and you're growing, maybe the community will start buying from you, maybe you can start employing people in the community, and so you are sort of empowering yourself and the community while you are empowering your health status. So I'm just going to add this, and there you have exotic salt. Mix everything. Always sterilize everything before you use it. And there you go, you put it in a grinder bottle, and there you have your exotic salt. It has so much minerals and nutrients and amazing health benefits that you could put on almost any type of food that you are eating or So, any questions?
The bottle.